Uh,
For my wife, it's a great thing.
yeah. I enjoy those times when I lose my voice, right? Blink once, yes. Blink twice, no.
Right, right.
But yeah. All right. So everybody rolling in. This is episode number 7. We are going to be going through why most proposals suck. And it really comes down to what you guys are seeing on the screens. Like you emailed the proposal. Like we've done all of this work. We've talked about all of these great things. We're going to help solve the problem. We're going to help them get to their goal. And then we just email a proposal over that has a bunch of roofing terms that more than likely your client has no idea what they are. And what he does know, that's what he's comparing, right? 60 mil TPO. Well, they're both 60 mil TPO. Well, guess what? One's got a 10-year warranty, the other one's got a 20. One's got coping on it, the other one doesn't. One's got downspouts on it, the other one doesn't. And then you lose the job because of price. Did I say something hurtful? Because if I did, it's probably because you were one of those individuals that lost it because it was a completely different scope. It was a completely different thing that he awarded. And then when you hear that, and I am going down like this post-traumatic side, and you hear it, and it's like you awarded the project and you didn't replace the coping that's literally rusted out and disgusting. Like that's the one thing that you can see from the side of the building. Why wouldn't you make it look nicer? But you know what? I lost the job. So that stuff happens, guys. And there is a way to be able to stop that from happening. And we're going to be talking about ultimately the 3 reasons that proposals suck. So hopefully you guys don't fall into the mix, but if you do, it's a chance to recognize it, make some little tweaks, and be better. So cool. Mr. Bonnie, you ready to roll, sir?
We're ready.
All right. All right, let's do this. So first off, welcome to No Reps Left Behind, guys. We're going to be talking about why your proposal sucks. 3 reasons that most proposals suck and how you guys can get out of that slump, get out of that rut, to not be every other commodity proposal that just gets on the same side of the paper or gets a stack of paper on a desk or gets lost inside email, so on and so on. My name is Chad Westbrook. I am the founder of Sales Alignment, and I'm here to be able to help raise the floor of our commercial roofing world. My background says enough. It's well over a $500 million in sales. I have over some of the largest preventative maintenance service agreements or initiatives inside the entire US I've been a part of and led. And with that, if you guys want to throw some real stuff to it, my national account division was dispatching 1,000 tickets per month. So think about the number of jobs that you guys have flow in. If you're a service manager, think about that. The national account office on average was dispatching 1,000 tickets. That takes a lot of clients. That takes a lot of companies. That takes a lot of corporations. So getting to that point is why I'm here. I've been through a lot of these details. And part of what we're sharing with you guys today is ultimately what has brought me to that level, sharing those secrets back with you guys so you guys can use them in your business. Maybe not make the same trips or walls running or bumps or whatever you want to call it that you guys have been. So that's why I'm here, guys. Mr. Bonnie?
Hey guys, David Bonney, founder of 45. I primarily, as many of you guys know, but for the new people here, I come from the venture-backed startup world. Company that I was with was at about 3 to 5 million when I started, and by the time I left, they were valued at just under $1 billion. So that march all the way up is extremely stressful. It's extremely hard. And you've got to be able to figure out ways to be able to grow revenue in a scalable way. You can't just have a great month and then tank the next, or have a great quarter and then tank the next. You got to keep getting better and better. And guess what? When you got to double the size of your company, it's one thing to double it at 10 million to 20. It's an increase of 10 million. When you're at 35 million, you got to get to 70 million. You got to increase it by 35 million. This stuff gets harder and harder, guys. So as I went through that environment, that high stress, high pressure environment, was obviously rewarded very well for it. But my time came to an end, specifically when business owners that were in a part of our customer base started coming to me because of my reputation, asking me for help to be able to grow their businesses. And commercial roofing companies were a part of that group. And that was one of the very first niches and groups that I started to work with. Chad and I met about 6 years ago doing this work. In that period of time, I've been fractional sales VP for a few roofing companies. This is a world where when we can take what works out in that very advanced world where they're doing the most cutting edge business strategies, sales tactics, et cetera, and we can bring it into commercial roofing, we can get exponential gain on this side. So that's really what we want to do. We want to bring the most innovative stuff out there to you guys because it's a blend of what works in commercial roofing, but it's also a blend of what works out there. And we Chad and I have worked very, very hard over the last several years to merge these worlds together and bring you the output of that. So from that work, I've written several books. We've done a lot of stuff, guys, and we come here every Tuesday wanting to pour into you guys. The only thing that we ask is you've got your Word doc up, you're taking notes, pen and paper. If that's your thing, that's fine. But we want you guys to walk away with the two things. What are the two things that you're going to do between now and next Tuesday that are going to be different from what you did between last Tuesday and today? What are the two things? We don't want you to change everything, but we want you to change two things every single week when you come here. When you do that, guys, you're going to see exponential improvement in your results. You can't keep doing the same thing and expecting a different outcome. You can't. You've got to do the hard work of doing things that make you uncomfortable. You have to do the hard work of doing things that are different. And you have to put in the time if you want to be one of the best sales professionals out there, making the most money and providing for those that you love the most at the highest level possible.
Yeah. So you want to know what one of my things are, David?
One of them.
And just one. If you ask for two, I'm going to give you one, and it could be detrimental to the rest of this meeting. I'm going to help you save your voice. I'll take a lot of the slides. You chime in where you see it. And if everybody drops off, it's like, oh man, Chad's talking, then we know we have a larger problem.
Our webinar feedback isn't going to be as good.
Oh man, come on. I'm the one getting the 9s. Okay. I got 9 and 10. All right. So guys, 68%, I believe this came from LinkedIn. This was a slide that David threw in, but 68% of potential buyers do not want to interact with a salesperson at all during the sales process. And the way that I relate to this is like when I go and I look at a car, even if I have cash in my pocket, when the salesman comes out, it's like, hey, you need any help? Like, it's just instantly like, nope, I'm good. I have cash in my pocket. And like, I don't want to be pressured because I'm kind of trying to find what works for me, right? Trying to find what car I like, what's the interior I like. And a lot of times, like I've had some amazing car buying experience. It's no different when you're in a department store and someone's like, hey, can I help you? I can literally be lost in the bread aisle looking for the bread. And I'm probably going to be like, nah, I'm good. It's just that way of not understanding that a sales individual, right, whatever title we want to be, should be there to be able to help, right? We talk about that trusted advisor that sits on the same side of the table, and a lot of times sales reps aren't seen like that. So that's why that number sits like this at 68%, because people ultimately feel that they're going to be sold something that they don't need. And that's what a lot of this is about, is that trusted advisor side. And it brings us to the buyer-seller misalignment. And this is a beautiful, beautiful part, right? Because ultimately your buyer wants to solve their problems, right? Question one, what's the problem or goal, right? That's what they care about. They don't care about the roof. They don't care about anything else. They don't care about you at this point right now. They have a problem that they want to solve. And you, as a happy-go-lucky roofing sales rep, right? Or, owner, whatever it is, you're going in, you want to sell roofing. Because if you sell roofing, that means your guys can go to work. That means you can log something on the sales board. That means that you guys can, again, fulfill your position as a sales rep at a commercial roofing company. So it seems like everybody wins, but there's actually this wall of disconnect because your customer doesn't care if you sell roofing, right? They just want their problem solved. And that's really one of the biggest issues that we have, is that your customer just wants to solve the problem, right? You guys just want to sell your stuff. And that line of disconnect, that wall of disconnect, keeps you guys from both of you getting what you want, because you have to sell your stuff in order to be able to solve their problems. But it's all on how we connect the pieces. Okay. So number one, I promised you guys that we would go through the 3 reasons that your proposal sucks. So here's number one, guys. Your proposal sucks because of poor discovery that creates prospect confusion, which means someone calls and says, hey, I'd like to get a quote on my roof. Cool, no problem. Where's the building at? I Google it, I look at it, and all of a sudden I look at it, it's like, you know what? Yep, it's a metal roof. I can do a coating from my office. And all of a sudden, we miss the entire buyer's intent. Because when they called and told you what they wanted, that was their perception. And maybe that perception came from another contractor who told them that, or maybe they're like, man, the contractor I have just hasn't been able to fix leaks. I'm done with this. I'm replacing the roof. But what we failed to do in that situation, that example I gave you, is that they're calling you because they intend to find a solution, right? Their problem, their goal that they can't get to. They need someone to help them find a solution to solve the actual problems, right? Let's remember, it's not a roof leak. That's not the actual problem. The actual problem is the disruption on the safety side, the product side, the people side. Those three areas that we talk about that are most commonly disruptive when a roof fails. So they intend to find a solution to solve the actual problems, their problems, causing them enough pain, enough disruption, enough problem, right? Causing them enough pain, keeping them from what they really want to do, keeping them from what is really their most important outcomes. And we put this together, I can make it super fast. When someone calls you, they intend to find a solution to the problems that they have, causing them enough pain, keeping them from the important outcomes. And it just might be that they think, okay, the roof is the problem because water's coming from up. What always happens, right? Till it's the HVAC unit, till it's the sprinkler line, until it's a different penetration, till it's whatever it is. If we don't do the right discovery, when someone calls and says, hey, I'm looking to replace my roof, if we don't do good discovery, number reason why your proposal sucks, we're never going to understand truly why the customer is looking to spend $100,000, $200,000, $300,000 on replacing their roof, or $1,000, $2,000, $3,000 on repairs. But when you don't do that, it creates a massive, massive issue. So what we work on is that trusted advisor side, is that even though they said they wanted to replace their roof, that's awesome, right? Maybe not, but completely understand. We're here to be able to help you. So what makes you think that you need to replace your roof? What has led you to this point to where you feel you need to spend hundreds of thousands of dollars? So instead of us taking at face value what the customer says they want, we need to help them and make sure that that solution is the right solution. And that's ultimately how you get repeat business. When you help them solve the problems or goals, right? You help them solve the problems you have, you help them get to the goals that they have. It's not just about being a commodity roofer that's just slinging proposals out. Oh, roof leak? No problem. Here you go. Roof replacement? No problem. Here you go. It's about being a trusted advisor, sitting on the same side of the table, creating a relationship. And this is where you make that switch from a sales rep to an account manager, right? To an account side, account management, where you're actually helping them grow and you're getting more from what they have and you're helping them solve more problems. David, anything you want to add to this, sir? Not muted would be preferred.
I think that I think the key thing on this, guys, is that remember we're um for the first one, for the first thing in this process to be, why do your proposals suck? Well, it's because your discovery and diagnosis sucks. It's like, well, hold on, wait, I thought we were talking about proposals. Guys, like we just can't stress this enough. You can't bypass all this stuff and expect to just wax poetic in front of your prospects and all of a sudden they're just going to love your proposal so much that they're going to buy. It's just lazy. Like, I hate to say it. I know some of you guys get mad because I'll be direct with you, but it's because I love you guys. Like, we just can't do that. It's not the way this game is. Buyer's intent is what matters. And if the proposal that you're putting in front of them is the best solution to solve the actual problems that you got aligned on with them, and those problems are causing them enough pain, and you figured that out with them, discovered and disqualified, and it's keeping them from the important outcomes that they want, and you figured that out, then your proposal is going to be a hell of a lot better, guys. It is going to be a hell of a lot better. It's almost like maybe the analogy that's coming to my head, Chad. It's like with these, these Netflix series where you guys binge it, right? If there's like a four-part series on Netflix, like, it doesn't matter how good episode 3 is. If you don't watch episode 1 and 2, and if episode 1 and 2 don't do their job, then episode 3 is going to suck. it can't exist in isolation. It can't exist independent of the broader process that our prospects and our buyers are going through. I know we want to sell our stuff. I know we want to hit quota, guys, but the key to doing that is by helping people solve the problems that they have. And when we do that, it's not about getting a sale. It's about getting a client. It's about getting a customer. Now you're growing your book of business and you're actually growing towards long-term success and consistent commissions in this role. And by the way, when you do that and you're doing it this way, you're waking up fired up every day, because not only are you making a lot of money, you're helping a lot of people and you're getting a lot of thank you emails and you're getting a lot of positive feedback from those people saying thank you for everything that you're doing. So, and all this stuff cannot be independent of itself. It all has to be stuck together. And when you forget these parts, your proposal sucks no matter how good you are at presenting it.
Yeah. I love that piece, right? Because again, your customer has a perceived vision of what's wrong, right? They know that there's water on the floor. They know that there's a slip fall hazard, but most of the time they skip all of that and they're like, you know what? I'm going to call a roofer and I'm going to tell them that it's time to replace the roof. And then the roofer comes out and it's just like, oh, we're replacing the roof. And they don't understand why. They don't understand the details behind it, right? How many leaks they've went through, all of this different stuff. And that's ultimately where it starts. So Dave, you make a massive, massive point, right? The proposal is the result of all of the work that we've done, right? All of the discovery, all of the diagnosis, everything, even the demonstration, all of that supports what our solution is. And if we don't do that, we have no secret sauce. We're going to lose the job because of something dumb, right? Like pricing. And we're not going to separate ourselves. So when we look at all of this, right, it comes down to ultimately 3 checkpoints. Number 1, is the problem big enough that they need to do something about it? Right, that's the most simplest one to be able to look at. So if you guys have a boatload of opportunities, or if you have any opportunities in your book of business that you have quoted more than 30 or 60 days ago and they haven't pulled the trigger yet, I'm going to challenge you that the problem's not big enough for them to care about yet. Right? That's something we need to know. And it's okay if it's not big enough to care about right now. That's okay. As long as we know that, as long as we're honest with ourselves, right? To know this is not the top of the priority. Maybe in the summer, maybe when it comes down, maybe when they get more rain, wherever it is. But that's checkpoint 1 to be able to know where our best opportunities are, is the clients that have a problem big enough that they need to do something about it. Number 2 is they actually need new and outside help, right? So we're going to go through this, right? New and outside help, which means do you have a contractor? Okay, cool. Why don't you use him? It's okay to ask those questions, because if they're just going to use them, let's figure it out, because that'll save you and me a lot of time. You just need 3 proposals to submit to corporate. No problem. I can help. How can I be actual competitive contractor on the next ones? You can ask those questions, right? We can get deeper into that. And then the last one is, do you guys have the best solution? Which to me is one of the coolest parts, is because your clients went through all of this discovery with you, and now you get to show them why you're the best. Right? Here's what we do for clients like you. Here's what we've done. Here's our track record of success. Here's how we know that if you have a roof leak, we guarantee to fix it. Because we have this process, right? This process that's extremely unique. You're not just going to be able to call any roofer and have the same experience as you would with us, because blah, right? And we help you build that stuff. But that's the buyer's action journey, right? It's going through and understanding, do they need to act? When you first set that call up, right, and this is going into all of them, bad discovery is going to give you mediocre or boring proposals. Do they know why they scheduled the meeting? Why they're there? When people sit down, they typically got a problem or a goal, right? Who's responsible and who has the authority for this? When I say decision makers, a lot of time, even in my head, it's like, oh man, are you a decision maker? And then I get this false yes. Yep, that's me. Until I give him the proposal. And he's like, oh, okay, yeah, no, I gave it to my boss. It's like, dude, I thought you signed it. Like, I thought you were the guy, and all of a sudden he's not. So we find a way to be able to really uniquely ask that question. Who's responsible for gathering the bids, and who's responsible, who has the authority to sign off on the contract? Let's find if there's other decision makers, if there's a board involved, if there's a threshold where it goes to somebody else. We should know that within the first meeting of what's going on. Have they tried to solve this and failed? A lot of times everyone is so quick to be able to jump to, yeah, roof leak. Oh yeah, we can fix that. Slow it down. What have we done? What have you guys tried to do to solve this up until now? This is a brand new leak that just came, right? Just popped up, or is this something you guys have been working on for a little bit? Because it's going to give you an idea, again, of do they need to act? Is the problem big enough that they actually need to do something about it? Right. And the last one is pretty simple. On a scale of 1 to 10, how big of a priority is this to you guys? Right? 10 being like, there's nothing more important for me to do, and a 5 being like, yeah, my boss told me to do it, so I'm doing it. And I've had both of those answers. And I can assume that you guys have had both of those answers. So let's define that. Let's get real on truly what opportunities are going to come. Because when we break this down, guys, we've talked about time management and all that stuff. So one thing that you guys got is time. And if you're wasting your time on crappy, sucky proposals that are never going to award, you're never going to be able to scale yourself. Right? We've talked a little bit that in mindset. We've talked about that in time management. So checkpoint 2, the new and outside help. Right? We talked about problem diagnosis, right? Are they aligned on the problems that actually need to be solved? It's not water on the floor. It's not a stained ceiling tile. It's not water on the wall. Like, who cares if the ceiling tile is stained? What's the bigger issue that we're dealing with? Well, the ceiling tile falls, it breaks, it lands on somebody, right? It's in a restaurant, it's in a hospital. Who cares if there's water coming from the roof? Figure out what the actual problem is they're trying to solve. That's your first step to understanding what the monetary ROI, return on investment, is. So when I talk to sales reps and I'm in my sales meetings and they say they have a roof leak, I'll tell you my ears instantly turn off. I don't care. No crap, they have a roof leak. What's the real problem that we're trying to solve? So don't tell me they have roof leaks. Tell me what the problem is that you're solving, because that's what's going to tie you closer to each one of those, right? So are you aligned to the actual problems that need to be solved? It is not a roof leak. Are the expected outcomes enough to fund a solution, right? If it's a hospital and they don't have one of their surgery rooms open, what does that mean? If it's a warehouse, what happens if a FedEx warehouse all of a sudden gets some damaged packages on it? Like, is that bad? Like, what happens at that point? Well, now you got to call the customers. Now the customers are going to go to UPS instead of FedEx. Like, have that conversation. Go deep into it. We talk about probing, right? Do they have an adequate budget for these type of outcomes? Which is, how do you normally buy something like this? Right? It's okay to be inquisitive. You don't have to be an expert inside the room. Ask the questions, because if they say, "Hey, we respond to this, when leaks pop up," it means they have a reactive mindset, and they're going to have to go find the money, right? Or it's a brand new individual who's like, "I don't know how I do this. I've never done this before." Now you both are on a journey, and it's a lot easier to know that up front. Then finally, do they have the internal resources to be able to do this? Which means use your own contractor. Why don't you go up there and clean the gutters out? Ask these questions, because if you don't, this is going to be what's in your client's head, whether you want to admit it or not, when you deliver the proposal to them. $1,200 to clean out gutters? I'm just going to head up there and do it myself. Ask that question up front before you get to this point, because it's going to allow you to be able to, just like David said, discover and disqualify. The last part, David, then I'll let you have your break now that you have your bubble water inside there.
Right.
Do we have the best solution? And this is really what it comes down to, because you guys have done all of the different stuff to figure out the actual problems that they're solving, to figure out that they needed outside resources. They've checked the boxes. Now, what makes you guys unique? I can go up there and put duct tape over a puncture, and guess what? It's going to stop the leak, the same as your heat welded patch. Am I a better one than you? Because from the client's perspective, both the leaks stop. So do you guys have a proven history of solving the problem? And if you do, let's talk about it, because that's part of your guys' secret sauce, right? If you guys are a repair and maintenance focused division, then let's talk about that. What makes you guys unique? Are they clear on how your solution specifically solves their problem? And this is massive, because if you are commoditized in their mind, which means, yeah, no, we got a couple bids from 3 contractors. They should be getting some proposals back from me. You are commoditized. And that means that you're going to be no different than someone else, and you are going to die from one of the 5 fatalities, which is probably going to be pricing, competition, or trust. Because they're going to go back to who they used before, because you know what? I didn't have any problems with them. They were okay. If you guys don't have any special sauce, if you don't have a proven history of solving the problem, and you don't make it crystal clear that when you guys solve this, this is what's going to happen. And then finally, do those deliverable methods work for them? I was involved inside a contract. It was a $30,000 contract that we sold maybe a month ago. And guess what? That guy expected me out that week. Anybody else on the same page? It's like $30,000 contract. Like we got to get materials. We got to make sure our crew is lined up for a couple weeks. Like we got some logistic stuff to do. Guess what? We did not have clear expectations on that and we failed. You don't want those issues happening. So do the delivery methods and milestones work for them. We got to be clear. We got to be upfront. So when the client buys, they know what they're buying. David, I'll let you step in, sir, and add any pieces that I missed.
So often you guys are just we're out there and we're trying to prove to them that we have the best solution. It doesn't matter if we have the best solution if it's not a problem that they want to solve. It just doesn't matter. Like we just can't burn this into your brain enough. These proposals are such a small part of the process. To be exact, it's only a third of the process, and we would say it's even 25% of the process when we drive them towards the decision phase. Off the 4D sales process. But you just got to remember that, guys. It doesn't matter what your reputation is. It doesn't matter how excited you are about the proposal. It doesn't matter when they called you, what they immediately said. And like Chad said, you just bypassed everything and you just thought that this was a hot sale. How do I get a proposal over to them ASAP and get them closed? Do not take this stuff for granted. Stop slinging proposals to people that don't actually have enough pain to take action. And then when we're looking at the best solution, it doesn't matter if you guys think that you're better than their internal resources. It doesn't matter if you think you're better than their existing roofer. The devil we know is better than the devil that we don't. Just is. If I'm working with a company and they're consistently late, it's a hell of a lot better than wondering if this other company is even going to show up at all. If my maintenance team can go up there and patch it, if it's not as good as what you guys are going to do, but it's going to save me $15,000 right now, great. I'm going to do that. We have to put ourselves in the shoes of our buyers, and we need to make sure that we're getting more thorough with the sales process and we're placing way more. And I'll say that with my squeaky voice, way more emphasis on not just discovery or half part of discovery that we're going through, and we're literally crossing these first two checkpoints. And we know that these are weighted 1/4 of the game. 25% of the weight is do they need to take action on this or not? And if not, they do not pass go, and you push back against them. If they do need to take action, but they do need outside, they don't need outside help, then you push back against that. That's 25% of it. Then the proposal is 25% of it. And then at the end, the decision making is 25% of it in terms of weight of importance. But as far as we see, guys, the majority of salespeople in the commercial roofing industry, you guys are putting like 80% of the weight of your sales process on your proposal. And you're just losing. And you're just losing over and over again for no reason because you're miscalculating how important it is. It's just not, guys. It's not that important. It is important at a 25% weight across the other four areas. It is not 80% of the game. It is not 70% of the game. It is not even 50% of the game. You guys are most of the time, highly misjudging how important your proposals are and how important that meeting is. It's a very small part of it. And if you guys would lean into these other sides of it and you discover and disqualify on these previous two pieces, your proposals are going to go so much better. You're going to have people that want to take action. And you're going to have people that feel vulnerable and incapable of doing it on their own. And they're going to want to hear everything you have to say. And it's just going to be such a better meeting. And if you lean into the confirmation close, you're going to drive more people to a decision and less maybes. And you're going to feel way better about your game.
I love it. I love it. I love it. And fun fact, I just got a text message question. Put it in the chat, guys. If you have questions in this, if you guys have things, like throw it inside the chat. That's what this is here for. That's why we do this live. If that wasn't the fact, then David and I can just record these and say, hey, watch them. We do these live. So throw them in, guys. Like, let's talk about this. Let's process this stuff if it's making sense or doesn't make sense. So number one, obviously, poor discovery. Right? So if we don't understand truly what the problem or goal our proposal solves, it makes it impossible to be able to make it unique. because you're just another roofer doing roof repairs. So number two, why your proposals suck. Number two, your proposal doesn't cut through the noise. Because when you guys don't do good discovery, and then you get to the point that you just have a proposal that's bland, right? And I say this because your customers are not roofing experts. So if your proposal looks something like this, right? So what's right here, right? Here's my questions that's on here. Where's the problem? How often do our proposals actually outline the problem that we're fixing? Right? Where's the goal? Where's the gap that you guys are helping fill? Right? He's completely, and especially if someone else gets this, right? Because let's say you do amazing discovery with this guy. It's like, I understand what the problem is, da 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 da. And he takes the proposal and gives it to his boss, which means there's another decision maker present. And this is what your proposal looks like: name, company, scope of work, dollar amount, sign here. What makes you guys unique? You did your entire presentation with the wrong person. So what you guys need to have is a way to be able to bring all of this back forward. There's been too many times where I have met with a customer. They said they wanted to replace the roof. Everything checked out, right? And by the time I got back to actually delivering the proposal, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, whatever it is, month, right? Got the proposal back in their hand. We did all of our due diligence. Their problem had completely changed, and their perception of what they needed and wanted has completely changed. Someone showed them foam, right? And they're like, oh man, foam's the best thing because it's a third of the price and da 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 da. And I'm sitting here with my head just like, don't do it. But I didn't have the opportunity to talk through that because I already had my proposal made, and I already gave my proposal to the customer, and he already had my price, and my price was 3 times higher than the guy who had foam. And I say that hopefully to be able to hit a nerve with you guys, because if you don't bring all of this back to the surface, if you guys don't have a way to cut through the noise, all of the hard work and discovery that you guys do means nothing, right? You don't rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your systems, which means if you guys are out there, right, just slinging proposals and you're not doing the right discovery, and you're not connecting the pieces, which means I'm delivering a proposal because this person has a roof leak. Remember, my ears turn off at that point. I don't care. What problem are we solving? You guys are just positioning yourself to be commoditized. You're positioning yourselves for that client to be able to make a decision based off of who he likes. And it's cool if he likes you. If you like someone else, it sucks to be you. And that's not the world we want to live in. We want to be a trusted advisor. We want to help him make decisions and make the right decisions. And we want to be different. We want to cut through that noise. So when you guys have all of these different items, these questions that you're asking, right, and this whole perfect buyer's action, the buyer's action plan, what happens is you guys now have a story to tell. That's the coolest part about this, is that when you guys have a story to tell, it's really, really, really important. I can't say it enough, that before you deliver your proposal, right, you've done all of this work. Let's just make sure we're in the same area as when we first spoke. Because if something changes, guys, the story changes. And if the story changes, it means that possibly the end of the story is not going to be the same. We talk about the 2 degrees of separation, right? You show up on day one, you get all the information, you come back and think that you're a superstar because you got this big, beautiful proposal together, until someone told them that applying a liquid membrane on the roof could still get them a 15-year warranty. And now all of a sudden you're putting down a brand new 60 mil TPO, PVC, whatever it is. You got someone else that's doing a coating, and guess what? Rules of the game changed. So if you don't have a way to be able to bring a summary up, right? We call it a problem canvas, and we'll go through some of this. If you don't have a way to be able to run through that, you're delivering a proposal on old information. Make sure the rules of the game are exactly the same when you deliver the proposal. And this means do not email it, because if you email it, you're sitting into the same situation. Get back in front of the customer, spend the time, invest the time to be able to say, hey, I know when we first met, you were talking about leaks in the production area that was possibly shutting that stuff down. Is that still kind of what's going on here? And you're responsible for solving this, right? And you're the one that actually has to award it. You can award up to $5,000, right? Whatever the conversation is, this is all part of discovery. You have to have some type of shareable meeting summary. So you can ensure that you and your customer are on the same spot, the same platform, the same area before you deliver the proposal. Don't blindly do it. Okay. You also have to have some type of guided decision making. And the coolest part about this is this whole process gives you that, because we ask the question on a scale of 1 to 10, how much of a priority is this to you? That number is very, very important, because if it was a 9 or a 10, we need to make sure that it's still a 9 or a 10. I've been in many situations where I'm up there, I'm doing all of that work, and all of a sudden I go back there and I handed the proposal and I asked him, I was like, hey, I know you said you wanted to move on this quick. And he goes, yeah, I know I wanted to do that, but we had an HVAC unit that went down and that went right to the top of the line. So I got to get that HVAC unit taken care of first, and then we'll go to the roofing. Different rules of the game, guys. It changed. It's very important to be able to understand what's the priority level. The second one is your ability level. That's a 1 through 10 question too. But 1 through 10, what's your guys' ability to be able to just do this with your current resources or do this on your own? If you don't understand that number, right, you're not going to be able to apply it before you deliver the proposal. Going to help them understand, right? Yes, we do need to do this. No, I do not have the ability to do it. And yes, this is a very high priority project. Too many times we deliver a proposal, change the projected close date to 30 days out, and hope the customer calls us. That is not running a book of business. That is not what the top 1% of account managers and sales reps do. They understand what the priority is. They understand if it's going to be a week, 2 weeks, or a month before they award it, because they know the buying process. They know what their customers have to do in order to be able to get to that point. All right, David, your moment of brilliance.
Oh, baby. Telling you guys, stories. We know it. We know stories move people. And guess what moves people even more? Their own freaking story. This isn't about notes. This is about you getting information from them and then putting it together into a story that gets them emotional about the situation that they're in, that gets them emotional about the moment. You want to meet a great salesperson? There's somebody that is great at unpacking and evoking emotion in their prospects, emotional responses that are then backed up by logic to take the action that they want to. And if you're great at that, then you need to be able to put it documented into a canvas, into a piece of technology, into something, guys. We don't care what it is. This just makes it easier and a lot prettier from our perspective to be able to put that narrative into something that allows them to see their freaking story. Because guess what? As soon as they're done talking to you, their life sweeps them up. They forget again. Have you guys ever been so busy that you forgot about your problems? Man, not to get crazy about it, but dude, I sometimes think our world, it's improving so much in terms of like life expectancy and mortality rates, and everybody's safer. For the most part, a lot of people are healthier. It's like we're getting so bored, like we're so bored now. Everybody wants to find all these problems. That's not what happens with the people that we're talking to. They get swept up and they forget everything that we talked about. And they got the new fire and the next problem that surfaces up. And as soon as the new problem and the new fire surfaces up, it takes place of the problem that they came and talked to you about, because you didn't capture that emotional story and keep it in front of them. Most of the time, we didn't even unpack it. But if you're going to unpack it, then you got to capture it and you got to get it down. You got to keep it in front of them. And by doing that, that'll continue to resurface that emotional response that they want to be able to make. It'll continue to resurface the logical business case on why they should take the emotional action that they do want to take. And when you continue to do that, they're just going to take the action that you guys are aligned on. But when we don't do this, guys, this is where we see somebody that's highly volatile. They want to take action. And by the time we get down to the proposal and the process, we don't hear back from them because we lost them. We didn't capture it and they didn't remember. It's not their job to remember. They're not going to remember. It's our job to capture it and keep it in front of them. That is our duty as a change agent, as a trusted advisor that's going to help them change their reality. It's our job to capture it and keep it in front of them so they stop repeating the continuous cycle of failure that they're in. That's our fault. That's our mistake. And when we stop that continuous cycle, they are so thankful. They are so grateful to us. And that's when true partnerships happen. And we talk about you guys jumping out of bed every single day. You're not jumping out of bed every single day just because of commission dollars. You're jumping out of bed every single day because you know that you're working with people and you're making a difference in their lives. And that's what freaking matters. Make a difference in your community, make a difference in your family. I mean, God, guys, we talk about this all the time. The sales game is so freaking important to the world. It's the most important role in business. But we got to attack it. We got to approach it in a very specific manner to be able to do that. And we're trying to give you guys all of that.
So here's what I'll say to that. This is why I love David Bonney. That's motivational, dog. That's awesome. Yeah, hats off to your bubbly water. Yeah, I mean, you know what? Got my coffee. Got my iced coffee. No, guys, but
That has come on during that rant. I'm not emotional. I'm not about to cry. I lost my voice over the weekend, just so you know.
so he says. So he says. We'll see. We'll see. All right, guys. So hopefully this makes sense, right? So number one, poor discovery. You guys are just slinging proposals. That sucks. Number two, it's not going to cut through the noise because if you guys are delivering a proposal that you expect your customer to decipher through to be able to A, understand it, and then B, you want them to remember a meeting they had with you a month ago. Like, come on. David said it best. I loved it, dude. Like that's my responsibility, right? I was on a meeting this morning and the customer I was talking to, right? It was a new contractor. He's like, hey, where did we leave off? That's my job. It's like, oh, we left off right here. We were talking about this. Like I'm there to be able to help him solve the problem, right? You got your problem. Here's where we left off. It's my job to take notes. It's my job to do that. And that's where this comes back in. So if you're not doing that, and you're just slinging a proposal, hoping that they're going to remember the conversation you had or remember how much maybe you liked him or you thought he liked you, good luck, guys. Close ratio is going to suck. Sorry to be honest, but it is what it is. All right, so number three, your presentation, your solution presentation is inconsistent. So what that means is that, and I absolutely was this person, okay? So there is hope that if I can change, you guys can change. But what that means is when you guys deliver a proposal, what you're delivering is based upon the conversation that you're having, what's being said in your head, and like your instant responses. I was that person. When I first got connected with David, like I knew what I wanted to accomplish, but when he asked me a question, he's like, oh, where's that? It's like in my head. He's like, oh, why do you say that? I was like, oh, because you said this. Like that was the relationship that David and I had when we first started working together. He's like, dude, you're never going to be able to duplicate this. You're never going to be able to help raise the floor as a sales leader, right? I could not duplicate myself, which means I could not duplicate the success that I had. Now I can try to create somebody like me. I can try to duplicate me, but everybody is their own individual. So this is a little bit of a shout out that if you're an owner or a sales leader, game on. This is to you. Now, if you're a sales rep, what I'm going to tell you is do what works. Okay? Do what works and then do it again and then do it again and then do it again and then do it again. Do what works. Why do we have to reinvent the wheel when we already know it rolls? Right? Now, can we sand it, make it a little smoother, maybe put some better bearings in it, maybe make it roll a little bit faster? Sure, absolutely. But you have to know the bare bones of what works. Because if you don't, and you're just going off of what someone says, you'll only be as good as your last response. And let me tell you, your operational team will not deliver what you say because they have no idea what you say. Right? And then you get this whole, well, Chad told me this, he promised this. Not that I lived in that world, but I'm giving you guys real world. So what I want to share with you guys is a workspace. This is a workspace. This was real. That was set up. I want to make sure that you guys can see it. I think I had tab. Yeah, you guys got it. All right. So this is a workspace that we created. And the reason that I'm showing you guys this is because I'm going to show you what everybody here, everybody watching has access to. You guys can have a workspace. You guys can set this up. The only difference on why you don't have it because you haven't taken the time to email David and I and say, yo, set me up with the workspace. We'll make that happen. You guys got to ask the right questions, right? You got to capture the right information. Otherwise, just like any other technology, garbage in, garbage out. You want to have a difference. You want to have an awesome kick-ass close ratio, discover, disqualify, and get a consistent presentation. Here's what it looks like. So first off, this is theirs. Give your customers something that's theirs. You want to cut through the noise? Don't be a proposal on a desk. Don't be an email that gets lost. Give them something unique that they can access. And I'll tell you the coolest thing for me using this is that when someone wants to forward your proposal to somebody else, they forward this link, which means if it's going in front of a board, right? Anybody here, you can't raise your hands, but anybody ever sell to a board or a group of individuals? Good luck on getting the point of contact that you did all of your work to correctly communicate what you did. David said best, it's not their job, guys. Good luck. When you do and use a workspace like this and give them something unique, it allows them for them to be able to review the information because you already put it in. We've already talked to the individual that had it, right? What's the problem? It's right here, right? Hospitals neglected leaks for over 2 years due to COVID. Is that still the problem? Yes, it is. All right, cool. He can share this, and it doesn't matter who reads this. And you'll see this as I go through. Who's got the responsibility? What's the current reality? Another cool thing that happens is my customer tells me that's not right, or that's not what I said. Like, oh, dude, all right. Like, where did I misunderstand? We talk about that 2 degrees of separation or that complete alignment between you and your customer. Read back what he said, because maybe you heard something different. Maybe he said it incorrectly or wherever it is, but this is that complete alignment that you have. Who has the authority? What's the pain, right? Is the pain big enough they're going to do something about it? Continued leaks will shut down the top level of the surgery room, and they'll not be able to provide services to the patients. Talk to me. Then a 1 through 10. I can tell you right here, last time you said this was a high priority. Is it still that high? Yeah? All right, cool. Now we're good to proceed. No? What happened? Different rules of the game, guys. What happened? What changed? I know you said your ability level was kind of low. I know you said you guys were doing it before. They've done a bunch of stuff out there and it's not worked, and you kind of got a mess on your hands. Are we still on that same page? Yeah, I'm not letting my guys go up there anymore. All right, cool. Let's move forward. David, anything you want to add on this top problem canvas side before we jump a little bit further down?
Yeah, guys, just the narrative. Okay. What we do see for our reps that are using this, guys, is, look at the paragraph size. We're not getting long on the tooth, guys. Like this doesn't need to be a bunch of paragraphs. They know what's going on. Your job is to summarize it and put stuff that's important in here. It's not your job to regurgitate. You're not a court reporter. Okay. So you need to put the most important elements of their narrative in here. And that's really what you want to isolate on each one of these squares. Okay. Now, again, remember, guys, with this software, when you send this stuff over to them in between discovery and proposal, you'll be able to look at the views on whether or not they're looking at it. And if you're putting a really good summary in there, you're going to see multiple views. Why? Because it's a link. They're going to send it to other people. And instead of you relying on the person that you're talking to communicate with other decision makers, if you can't get past them, you can do the talking for them with this link. And you'll see it. You'll see 4, 5, 6, 10, 12, 15, sometimes 20 views on this thing, because multiple people in the organization are looking at it multiple times and having discussions around what their current situation is and what the actual information is, and they're getting aligned on it. Okay. So keep it short, keep it important, keep it punchy, and then leverage the link, send it to them, make sure that they're accessing this and you're gathering the story and making sure that they're getting it to other people. And you'll see the views on there and whether or not that's happening.
So let's make it super clear. I'm not creating anything here. I'm literally giving a summary of the questions that I've already asked. This shouldn't be hard.
Right. Type in the
It's
information.
objective. There's a problem or goal when we sat down.
Right.
Just type it out. I mean, I care less. You do use voice dictation to be able to do it. I don't care. Put it down somewhere so your customer can ensure that you're on the same page, because that's the first step, that separating yourself from being commoditized is that you understand the actual problems. Remember that? Remember the buyer journey? They want to solve their actual problems. They want to find a solution to the actual problems, causing them enough pain. It's keeping them from the important outcome. So this should be literally, this should speak to them. Yep, this is exactly what's going on. We got the guided decision side. You have the ability to be able to add a video. If you guys want to put a video that makes you guys extremely unique, right? Specifically for the solution that you're delivering. So if you guys have kick-ass videos on repairing leaks or replacements or coatings or whatever it is, I've seen some super cool stuff. Put it in here. That's part of your special sauce. What makes you guys unique? Put it in here. And we talk about the solution roadmap, right? This is really what I'm getting down to is that number three, right? Why your proposals suck is because you guys are inconsistent on how you present. And I'm saying that, and I'm saying that humbly because I was absolutely at this same point. I knew what I presented, but guess what? So did the other 10 sales reps. And everyone presented differently, which means we had some good sales reps, we had some bad sales reps. We had no consistency on how to make them better. We had no consistency on, oh, this does work or, oh, this does not work. So when I go down this thing, I'm going to read it to you, but that's literally all I'm doing. So so we promise to fix your leaks so you can focus on what matters. We exist because of 3 reasons. Too many facility managers tolerate roof leaks. Construction's typically one of the worst when it comes to customer experience. And we know the roof is one of the primary assets for security. When we work with customers, success typically looks like this. Fewer leaks, less disruptions. We give budgets that actually work. And you got peace of mind through control of your budget, which means you guys can actually pick and choose what you want to do. We know that we can fix the roof leaks that you guys are having because we fixed over 1,800 in 2021. We have a 99.56. That's a real number. It's insane to think about it, but of leaks that we fixed the first time. So we know that recalls are not something that we deal with. 72% of leaks are fixed within 72 hours, which means we get out there quick. And if that's not enough, we're a top 100 contractor across the United States, and we're specifically only in this metro. So we're recognized for the special sauce that we have. I'm just reading, guys. I'm literally scrolling and reading. Our methodology, simple. Fix it fast, fix it right, fix it for life. So we talk about fixing it fast. We got crews available 24/7, day and night, throughout the Metroplex. So we don't have to drive, traffic, all that other stuff that sucks. We don't have to deal with that. And our trucks are fully equipped, which means whatever they show up to, any of your buildings that they show up to, they're able to make repairs. That's one of the coolest parts behind this. We exceed, right? So when we fix it right, we exceed national and manufacturer standards. So if you have any warranties, we go above and beyond with that. We're certified with partners, and we have technicians that have been through training, right? That are not just someone we hired off of Craigslist or wherever. We have good people. We train them. They're certified. And we inspect what we expect, which means we do post-job walkthroughs, which means if we sell a job, it's not just sell the job, invoice it. Sell the job, invoice it, and make sure that it meets our standards. And that's how we always make sure that we fix it right. Just reading. The methodology, fix it for life. We don't guess, we pinpoint the problem. We do that because we water test exactly what's happening. Sometimes we have to recreate the issue to know exactly where the water's coming in, and we do that. And when we do that, we guarantee it for life, which means if that roof leak comes back, we'll come out, we'll fix it at no cost. So there's no risk. We know what we do great. And it's that simple methodology. Fix it fast, fix it right, fix it for life. So we've already went through the diagnose. We inspected the roof. We're going to work through summarizing our findings today. And my goal is to really review the options and schedule a plan, right, to reduce the disruptions that you guys are having in your business. Just reading. Finally, once we get this underlined, we're going to stop the issues forever. Sound good? All right, cool. So in summary, we see past the leak, we're best in class, certified, right? So we exceed the industry standards, and recalls, well, they really don't exist for us that much. So that's where we're at. I got 3 questions for you. Okay. So guys, I'm breaking this down now. These are the 3 questions on the alignment checklist. Is everyone still aligned to the actual problems causing the pain that you guys are having right now? Actual problems. This is not a roof leak. What are the actual problems that they're trying to solve? Are we aligned to that? Yes or no? Is everyone still aligned to the expected outcomes if we're going to solve them? Right? Is the ROI enough? You should have already figured this out. What's the cost if this is not fixed right the first time? What's the cost of doing it wrong? What's the cost of having this disruption for the people, product, or safety? It's all within your discovery. Are we still on the same page? This needs to get done, right? And then question number 3 is the nail in the coffin, guys. Are we the right solution to solve the problems that you guys have and create the desired outcome that we've been talking about? You guys confident that we're the right contractor in that? If the answer is, I think so, go back up. Figure out what's not right. Are we aligned to the actual problems? Yeah. All right, well, let's talk through that. Don't check the boxes just to check the boxes. I'm telling you this because I have not delivered my proposal yet. I haven't. I'm telling them out of all the discovery that we've done, all of the alignment that we've done, what makes us the best? Because when it comes down to the scope of work, right? When it comes down to clicking this button to view the proposal that's going to come up here, guys, that is all minutia, because they trust inside us to be able to help solve the problems, right? Solve the actual problems that's causing them enough pain, keeping them from the outcome. If you're going to hope that your scope of work, which from a manufacturer side is probably going to be exactly the same as your competition, if you think that's going to win you the job, good luck. You have to be able to separate yourself from the competition. You have to be able to become a trusted advisor and partner with your customers so you can understand what's the problem that you're trying to solve or the goal you're trying to get them to. David, floor is yours on how you want to wrap this up, sir.
Guys, a confirmation close is probably one of the best teaching tools that you'll have. If you would just use it. Remember, we're confirming information. We get through all of this and we want to be able to say, okay, let me help you make a decision on this instead of just asking you for money. Let's break down what a professional buyer would ask themselves. Based on everything you guys have going on, is this still an urgent priority? Is this still one of the things at the top of the list that you guys need to solve for? Yes, we already figured that out. So we're just asking them, do they still need to do that? Do you still believe you don't have access to the right resources to be able to do that and you need to find a new vendor? Okay, great. If you do, then we go into 1, 2, 3. Are you clear on how we solve your problems? We can get long-winded. Did we focus on the things that you care about? They're not roofers. They don't care about the seam. They don't care about the issue up there. They don't know what the hell's going on up there. They care about peace of mind, guys. That's what they want.
Oh.
Right. And then from there, are we clear on the expected outcomes? And are we the right solution? Not do you want to buy? Are we the right solution? Okay. And if we get through, you'll find out where you were misaligned. You'll find out where you were making too many assumptions. And it'll be the best teaching tool possible. And if it's a yes, but I got to go talk to so-and-so, great. Then set that next meeting and find out where the breakdown is. But this will show you for the 60%, for the 50%, hopefully 50 to 60% of your ops that aren't closing. On the repair side, this will tell you where they're not closing. Because if you didn't disqualify them and they got this far, this will tell you exactly where you got out of alignment. So going into the next stop, you solve that. And you don't just keep repeating the same mistake and tanking your own results. That's all I got.
Love it. Love it. Love it, guys. So we do this, right? I've already said it. I do it to be able to raise the floor of our commercial roofing industry. If you guys got something from this, go to my LinkedIn, take one of the posts that I have and share it. We stream this on that, and the way that we grow is being able to share the word. And there's 2 types of people that need to be on this. Number one is the ones that need help, right? Because those are the individuals like, I'm struggling, I'm not getting what I need, I'm not hitting the goals that I need to go hit. And the second type is the people that have too much of an ego to admit that they need to get better. I don't care how good I am. I'm constantly reading books. I'm constantly trying to get better, different perceptions of what's happening. So when we look at this, guys, the idea is that we're always taking little pieces. And that's the reason that David and I continue to be able to do this, because just take 1, 2 pieces of this, right? Take the 3 questions at the bottom and you have to use it. You got to execute it. Reach out to us. If you guys want to try, if you want to use a workspace and start making yourselves different from all of that, it just takes that 1 step from you guys to say, hey, I want to do this. Right? Hey, I want to be different than everybody else inside my area, and I want to cut through the noise. So we went through the 3 different reasons that your proposals suck. Hopefully you guys are like, yeah, I don't do that. But if you do some of that stuff, if you are slinging proposals, right? If you are just handing your proposal out, hoping that someone's going to read it and understand it, or you don't have a defined process on how you're presenting, it's only going to make you guys as good as your last presentation. And that's a scary spot to be in. And I wouldn't bet my paycheck. I wouldn't bet my commission side on that. So hopefully this helped you guys. Take it, run it, and yeah, see you next week. Have a good one, guys. Thank you.